Welcome to Vineyard Youth Television. My name's Connor, and we're back with another episode, and I'm going to bring it to Lou from the Grapevine.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to Through the Grapevine. Once again, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This wonderful week, we can give thanks to God for this beautiful spring weather that we're finally getting to see in sunless, cloudy New York. This weather is a great opportunity to enjoy walks, bike rides, or even just any sort of outside extracurricular thing we do with our friends to get our much-needed social time and clear our brains. Let's also use this break in positive ways to focus on things such as ourselves, helping our bodies, and not think about all these new TV shows we're going to watch, all these new videos we want to binge watch, as tempting as it may be, since those things in the long run aren't going to help us as we try to move forward into more stressful weeks. Let's make sure to socialize, talk with our family, whether once again it be virtual or in person, so we need to remember how to socialize after this long pandemic. Let's also make sure to look after our bodies and our minds by both being, and our souls, by just focus on the Word of God and just take in who He is and what He's telling us for this week. That's all for today for Through the Grapevine. Here's wishing you a great day. Stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, Lou. Now we're going to hear another message from Justin.
Hey, VYTV, welcome back. This is week 3 of Serve. I would encourage you, if you haven't already, we've got a playlist over there somewhere down on the side. If you click on the channel, you can get into our playlists, and you can go back to our previous series of Passion if you didn't look through all 4 of those, or you can watch the first 2 weeks of Serve after this is over if you're watching the premiere, or maybe you want to go back, watch those 2, then come back to this 3rd one. Yeah, it'll just help give you a little more context. For now, I'll give you a little recap. So what we've talked about so far was that the big points were that the Spirit empowers us, right? The Spirit empowers us so that everyone gets to play, right? Everyone gets to do this stuff. And God calls us to it. God calls us to serve. God, in fact, calls us to desire and wait on the Spirit for the gifts. When we desire the gifts, when we wait on them, we receive those gifts at the Spirit's giving, right? At the Spirit's timeline, not ours. And it's usually for the common good. And by usually, I mean it's always. It's always for the common good. This week, we're going to jump right in. 1 Corinthians 12 through 26. I recommend the YouVersion app. Again, I'll talk about it every week I have the chance to. We also have a great app called Cultivate. It's put out by our friends within the Vineyard Youth. It's just a great devotional app. It hits you with a devotional every morning. They're easy. They're quick reads. They're pretty simple. I'm not a good reader, so if I tell you it's a quick read, you know that it's a quick read. But yeah, I recommend these apps. They're great ways to be where the Spirit would need you to be so that it can work through you for the common good. Check it out. Let's go. 1 Corinthians 12 through 26. We'll read this in bits. So, just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we are all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free. And we were all given the one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Type, we are all one. Right? We are all one. That's what we read right here. We are one body, many parts. So, separate but equal, right? We are one body, many parts. So, there is neither Jew nor Greek, slave or free, right? We are all given one Spirit to drink. Type, one Spirit. This is important to remember because this is our first big thing here is that we are all one. Everyone is equal, even though we might be different. Now, if the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? And if the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts in the body, every one of them, just as he wanted them to be. Type, know your role, right? The Rock. Know your role, right? So check it out. We got to know our role. You got to know where you fit. We took a spiritual gifts test last week. I urged you online to take one. If you didn't, you can go, like I said, you can go to last week's. You can download the app for your phone real quick. And it's 110 questions. It moves pretty quick, I promise. It takes you maybe 15 minutes. It's important. You got to know where you fit in. You got to know your role. We can't all be eyes. We can't all be ears. This is beautiful. You may see it within your family unit, right? Like maybe dad makes big decisions and mom like works out the details along the way. Maybe you're the sibling that kind of like keeps different things in check, or there's different ways that it happens within the family unit. It's always fun to watch. Here at the church, it's easy to see. I don't want to do the numbers. I don't want to be in charge of that because math is not my strong suit. However, we have people that's their role. They know their role. They are math people, and it's great. There are people here that would dread the idea of doing youth ministry, that this scares them. And guess what? It's fine. They know their role. This isn't their role, so they're not here. That's why I am here. This is my role. I love it. I love working with y'all. It's the best. Check it out. Let's move forward here. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts but one body, right? Many parts, one body. Let's type, we are all one. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. And the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And the parts that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor. And the parts that are unpresentable are treated with special modesty. While our presentable parts need no special treatment. But God has put the body together, giving greater honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Check it out. There's this song called Graves into Gardens. It's by Elevation Worship. It's a great song. I would recommend look it up after this is over. Maybe put headphones in and just enjoy it. Worship along with it. Let it really feed you. It's great. But there's a line that says, the God of the mountain is still the God of the valley, right? And I feel like that could work both ways. We could talk about that being both things, right? If you were with us for Passion, we talked about that cycle, right? Of God as king and then us screwing up and moving away from God and realizing we needed God again, right? And then we put God back in his rightful place as king again. God is there with us. Type, God is always there. God is always there. God is there with our best, with our worst. God is there when things are just normal. This is important to remember because we are all one. If one part suffers, we all suffer. If one part is honored, we all rejoice. I believe in that. The Bible talks about being there, with those that are suffering, to suffer, to be there with those rejoicing, rejoice. When they mourn, you mourn. When they rejoice, you rejoice. Yeah, I love it. Love it. It's so good. You got to know your role. Last week we talked about the spiritual gifts test. Again, I would encourage you, check it out. It's in last week's video. In the description, there's a link to the app from the Google Play Store or from the Apple Store, depending on your device. Download it. 110 questions. Take you 15 to 20 minutes to finish. It's a great resource, and it's a great way to know your role. Type, know your role. Knowing your role is good because it helps us to know who we are. When we know ourselves better, we're able to lead better. When we're able to lead better, we're able to be where the Spirit needs us to be to give us those gifts for the common good. Okay, so the next point is this. You got to type in the chat again. I love this. Type it out. Say, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. So we're going to stay in our lane. What this means is once you know your role, once you kind of find in that spot where you know this is me, this is where I can be one, this is where I can stand and be able to suffer those who suffer and rejoice with those who are rejoicing. What that means is this is your spot. This is your fit. Like I said, I don't want to do numbers. I can't do the numbers. That's not my lane. We've got people for that, though. God has a special use just for you. God has people that you can reach that literally no one else can reach. I believe that. There are people that I can reach that you can't reach, just as there are people you can reach that I cannot reach. I don't know what it's like to live on the south side of Syracuse. I don't know what it's like to live in Marcellus. I don't know what it's like to live in an underdeveloped nation, right? But I have friends that live in underdeveloped nations. They know what it's like to live there. They're able to talk with those people. They can reach them in a way that I can't. Just as I grew up in going to hard, heavy metal concerts, right? I went to these different shows. We acted as a family, as a unit, as a group of friends, as a scene, we called it, right? And we would go to these shows, and, it looks violent or scary on the outside, or, all the people are wearing all black, and, maybe they've got some scary tattoos, or they have face tattoos even, or they've got, like, their ears are all, But, like, some of those people are some of my good friends even to this day. And what's awesome is I have had the amazing ability to reach some of those people that you may never have had the chance to talk to. Those people need Jesus just as much as, your cleaned up best friend or the person wearing, nice clothes and looking all nice and clean, right? Everyone needs Jesus. I've had great times of just deep talks with them through simply loving them, by saying I'm a Christian, by showing them I'm a Christian, through love, not judging people, by accepting them where they are. I'm not saying that I was condoning all of their behavior, or I was, along for the ride when they were doing things that I didn't want to do. I'm saying when we sat down and we talked, if we were having pizza before or after a show, I didn't judge them for their words. I didn't say, hey, don't say that. Like, I was there with them. They'd swear, and I'd go, all right, and move on and not make a big deal. Why? It gave me this chance to talk with them. Not everybody gets that chance. Some of them have been hurt by church, and some of you may have even been hurt. And it's great to have these people that you can go and talk to, that in those moments, they're not going to judge you. They're just going to love you. This is one way that I have found my fit. Type, find your fit. So when you find your fit, when you know your role, you're able to stay in your lane so the Spirit can empower you to help you and others get to play. Because God has called you to do these things, to serve. And when you're serving, you're going to be in the middle of it. You're going to desire the gifts. And when you're desiring, you're going to remember that God is with you no matter what in that waiting. As the Spirit gives you those gifts. I've had different gifts hit at different times. I've been able to speak into people's lives. I've been able to pray. I've been able to do different things that I can't always just do naturally because I've let the Spirit do its thing. I would encourage you to fill out the connection card in the description. That's going to email me directly. If you've got questions, if you're trying to find your fit, if you've took the spiritual gifts test and you really want to know more about what that had to say, that's a great resource for you to get a hold of me and for me to be able to talk to you more about what that is saying. Otherwise, I'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Justin, for the great message. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and have a good day.